Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Syngenta Canada, Alberta Wheat Commission, and C&M Seeds.
So one of my favorite topics, we're here in an edible bean field. It's going to be planted to wheat very, very shortly, just as it should be. And of course, lots of questions about starter fertilizer. And I don't understand why there's still so many questions about starter fertilizer. I am the poster child for starter fertilizer. But we've looked at a whole bunch more products, we've done a whole bunch more analysis of the data, and what's really surprising is a couple of things have fallen out of the data. First, if you have a low soil test and you do not use a starter fertilizer with your wheat, you give up 14 bushels per acre. So if your soil test is below, say, 13 or 15, somewhere in that really responsive category, man, you should hire somebody that has fertilizer capability on the air cart or on the drill if you can't do it yourself, because you will make money out of doing that. One of the other things that's really surprising us is when we looked at this data, even at a soil test of 56, now that's incredibly high. We get over 60 and we say that you're essentially excessive for phosphorus. Even at a soil test of 56, a little bit of seed place starter fertilizer, 6 bushels per acre. So really drives home the point how important that starter phosphorus is. And then of course I get the question, well, what about liquid? Or what about the new Micro Essentials sulfur zinc? Well, in our trials, it's all about phosphorus. You can use liquid, it's more convenient, it costs more per pound of phosphorus, but if you get 16 pounds of phosphorus out of 5 gallons of 624-6, that's 16 pounds of phosphorus. If you get 26 pounds of phosphorus out of 50 pounds of 11-50-2-0 dry MAP, then you'll get more response to 50 pounds of dry MAP because there's 26 pounds of phosphorus there rather than 16 out of the liquid. So liquids work, they're great, but it's all about the phosphorus response. And then of course the Micro Essentials sulfur zinc. And you would wonder, well, does the zinc bring something to the table, or the sulfur? Because Johnson, you talk a lot about sulfur, and guess what? Fall applied sulfur really doesn't seem to bring to the table nearly as much as spring applied sulfur. So when we look at the data, 100 pounds of MAP gives just as much yield as 100 pounds of mez. I get a little bit more phosphorus, so a little bit more value for my dollar, and the MAP is always a little bit less expensive than the mez. So it's not that mez doesn't work, it does, but does it bring more yield to the table? The answer is no. So you kind of got to step back and say, well, from an economic standpoint, what works in my scenario? At the end of the day, we can also broadcast phosphorus, but remember all this problem we had with the water supply at Toledo, and more recently the water supply around Lake Erie. And where's that coming from? That's coming mainly from phosphorus. Agriculture has been pointed at as one of the major contributors to that phosphorus going into the Great Lakes. Fall applied phosphorus on the soil surface has to be a non-starter. Broadcast phosphorus, 200 pounds of broadcast phosphorus is about the same value as 40 pounds of seed place. So it takes 5 times the rate. You can get there, but then you have to make sure you work it in, because man, you leave it on the soil surface, that's an environmental problem. We cannot go there. At the end of the day, if you grow wheat, and you should grow wheat, you must use starter phosphorus. That's all there is to it. Have a nice day.